So I'm just packing a small day kit today. I'm going for a walk up the estuary in Rhyl, past the Void Harbour, up to Rhuddlan. Just for a bit of a day out, just going to have a look for some wild edibles, do a bit of cooking, that kind of thing. So I thought I'd bring you guys along. Hope you enjoy the video. I'm starting at Marine Lake at the west end of Rhyl. The lake is the only saltwater man-made lake in North Wales. It was opened on the 24th of May 1895, which coincided with Queen Victoria's birthday. It covers 40 acres, and visitors can walk or cycle all the way around it. We can see from this old map that the lake used to flood and cover nearby land when the River Clwyd was especially high. This floodplain is now reclaimed land and is locally known as the Marshes. The Rhyl Amusement Company took over Marine Lake in 1910 and developed the area with a variety of fairground rides. The lake is also home to the oldest surviving miniature railway in Britain. It opened on the 1st of May 1911. Holiday makers would board 6 open-top coaches pulled by a steam locomotive called Prince Edward of Wales. With the fairground rides and amusements attracting more people, extra trains needed to be purchased in the 1920s and 30s. This is around the time when a new station was added as well. The central station we see in this picture has long since disappeared from history. But in May 2007, a new version opened which provides a booking office and toilet facilities for passengers, along with a museum and a workshop for the locomotives. Next we move on to the Void Bridge. Locals know it as simply the Blue Bridge. The Blue Bridge we see today replaced an earlier toll bridge which was built in 1861. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any pictures of the earlier bridge, but after doing some research, I found out that it would have opened, allowing boats and ships to travel up the River Clwyd towards Rhuddlan. Eventually, the toll bridge's condition deteriorated as road traffic began to grow in size and in volume. Here we can see the new Blue Bridge under construction, but why has it got what appears to be a railway track on it? Again, my research wasn't very forthcoming, so I've applied some logic and common sense at this point. First of all, I looked at old maps of the area dated before 1932, as this was the date when the Blue Bridge was opened, and I drew a blank. The railway track couldn't be found on any of them, which suggests that the track was very temporary. I'm now going to zoom in to the top half of this picture. We can see here that the track bends sharply. Now let's examine this old map. Here is the Void Bridge, and this is where the sharp bend in the track would have been. We can also see that there is an existing railway track which leads to sawmills on the Kimmel Bay side of the harbour. It's worth noting that this is where the harbour wall is, and also where ships and boats would discharge and pick up cargo. The bridge's design incorporates bowstring girders, which provide the strength for the deck to cross the River Clwyd in 2 spans, which rest on a central pier. It was fabricated by Dorman, Long and Company of Middlesbrough. This firm started life in 1875 as an iron and steel works making parts for ships. Eventually it moved on to specialising in manufacturing structures, their most famous being the Sydney Harbour Bridge in Australia. It's no surprise that our Blue Bridge in Rhyl looks very similar, albeit on a much smaller, humbler scale. I now leave the bridge behind along with its feathered residents and continue my walk. So just looking back there, that's the gate that I've just stepped over. Here's the railway bridge. Over the side of that is the Blue Bridge, looking up the estuary there. And just down here is our first wild edible. This is sorrel. So if you choose a young leaf. So we'll just try a bit. Really refreshing. Tastes like apple peel. I think we've got a chicken that wants to be a YouTuber as well. Let's crack on. Yeah, so I can see why the sign said keep dogs on a lead. We have got livestock. See if we can zoom in for a closer look. They're quite happy, aren't they? So we've got a bit of bird life just in the middle on the mud flats. So I did bring my binocular with me. Let's have a look, see what we can see. So we've got shelled duck there. We've got Canada geese, you can just hear probably. Lovely. I love being in the outdoors. See, but just out there, I know it's going to be a bit blurry because I've got the camera zoomed in all the way, but there's a little egret right in the middle of the screen now. Just wading along, getting a bit of a feed. So I've just turned a corner on the estuary, and straight in front of me, in the middle of the screen here, you can see some masts on top of the hillside. That's Prestatyn, and this is the Clwydian mountain range, and it goes from Prestatyn in North Wales all the way to Llandegla. So far not much in the way of wild edibles, but if I just spin the camera around, you can see all this white blossom on all these trees. That's all hawthorn, and you can make a fruit leather out of the berries of hawthorn, and you dry it out in the sun, and I believe it's quite nice. I've never made any myself, so maybe that's something we need to do on the channel. So I'll just show you where I've come from. Oh, hello, a goose. So I'll just show you where I've come from. The path leads off that way, and all along here is planted hawthorn. As we know, hawthorn bushes, trees have got thorns on them, and I suspect the reason why they've been planted here is because it's pasture land on the other side, so stops any of the cattle or the livestock getting out. There's probably a fence there as well, but yeah, pretty much as far as the eye can see. Beautiful day, absolutely beautiful. Sometimes it's nice just to stop and listen to the bird life. You can hear, apart from a jumbo jet in the background, you can hear skylark. Jackdaw, magpie. It's another good skill to have, to know your bird calls. Blackbirds coincidentally are really good if you're doing a wild camp. They're really good at letting you know that there's people around, because they do give off an alarm sound. If they see someone and they're close by, they'll give off an alarm sound. So yeah, nature has its own alarm system. It's absolutely brilliant. So the only way you're going to get to know your bird calls and the songs is by going out with a book and observing them. I've done a few videos about bird watching. I'll put some links in the description to this video, to my other videos. Maybe leave a couple of cards at the end of this video so you can go and check them out. So just over there in the distance we've got a flock of cormorants. You just see one just this side of the screen here. It's got his wings open. It's a classic sign of a cormorant praying to the gods, or praying to the ocean usually. Mixed in with a few Canada geese by the looks of things as well. So I'm now on a more defined footpath, and kind of moving away from the estuary a little bit. Just spin the camera around. This basically fields that are very flat and shortcut. This is where you need to be watching out for your buzzards and your kestrels and that kind of thing. They'll be looking for voles, shrews, and souls in the short grass. Makes it easy for them. So I'll just give you one more spin round, so you just see where I am. Rhuddlan Castle straight ahead of us. There's the other side of the estuary. You can just see maybe a couple of cyclists there. the first time I've ever seen that being done. Might be boring to some people, but I think it's amazing how technology and machinery has lightened the load really of farmers, because back in the day that would have all been done by hand. Now it's an automated machine that does it all. Not sure if it's silage or actual hay they're making. Probably hay making, I would imagine. There's another one over there at it as well. Right, so just going to stop for 5. Take on some water, little and often, I always say, with water. We are going to be reaching civilization very soon again. Let's have a look, see what we can see with the scope. Massive flock of jackdaws over there, mixed in with a few herring gulls. The farmer going about his business with his tractor. 2 farmers. It looks like that this field has recently been cut. And all the hay bales are ready just for picking up. Right, let's carry on. So one thing I might look at doing in the future is investing in a spotting scope with recording capability. Any kind of HD 720 upwards would do me. I don't even know if they exist. I do know you can get night vision binoculars and binoculars that have the capability to record in night time and daytime. So I do know you can get them. Whether you can zoom with them, I don't know. What I use nowadays for my YouTube channel is my everyday phone. Technology's come on now, but the cameras in phones are just as good as a DSLR. So I can just see Rhuddlan Castle in front of me. That's our next port of call, the medieval town of Rhuddlan. So I've just had to stop to get a stone out of my shoe and just tighten the other lace up. I'm on a bit of a gravel track now, so pull the trousers over the top of the shoes. Yeah, anything to do with your feet. If you're doing a fairly long distance walk like I am today, then sort it out immediately. If you get like localized heat building up in your feet, you're likely to get a blister, so put a blister back on. As soon as you feel that heat come in, put a blister back on. You'll thank me for it later. A couple of tips about your feet during a long walk. King Edward I, otherwise known as Longshanks because of his tall stature, had Rhuddlan Castle built in 1277. It was one of several castles built to suppress the Welsh. Much of the work was overseen by his master mason James of St George. The castle is unique in its design. The inner ward has defensive walls with twin tower gatehouses. The outer ward is surrounded by a curtain wall that has small towers and turrets. The castle also has a 3-sided moat, with the River Clwyd protecting its 4th side. Within the inner ward there was a great hall, kitchens, private apartments and a chapel. The castle even had its own freshwater well. This would have been vital if ever the castle became under siege. The River Clwyd was straightened and dredged to allow ships to come inland and provide the castle with supplies and troops. But there's a much older castle in Rhuddlan. You can see the mound behind me. On top of that mound used to sit what's called a Motte and Bailey castle, which would have been made out of wood. Toot Hill, or Tot Hill Castle, was built and designed in 1073 by Robert of Rhuddlan. He was a Norman lord and kinsman of the Earl of Chester. The castle was to consolidate Norman advances into the north of Wales at the command of William the Conqueror. Using the castle as a base, Robert subdued the Welsh and established control over much of North Wales. It was a very simple Motte and Bailey design, and archaeological evidence has been found that suggests there was a church and even a coin mint within its walls. It was in use for 200 years until the stone castle we've just visited was built. Right, so I've been walking for about, well, my phone's saying nearly 3 hours. I haven't actually been walking that long. I've been, filming in between, and it all takes time. Right, so I'm in some woodland right next to the castle. I'm assuming it's open to the public. There's a couple of footpaths in here, just seeing another family in here. So it's time to get something on to eat. So today I'm using the bush box by Bushcraft Essentials. If I can remember how to put it together first. And for the fuel, I'm just going to be using hexamine blocks. Oh yes, look at that. I've brought a plate with me, so it's going to be straight at the frying pan job today. I hope it's all cooked properly. Yeah. Bit of onion sausage. I didn't have any bacon, so I used a gammon steak instead. Oh yeah. So I've got onion sausage, gammon steak, egg obviously, black pudding, hash brown. After the walk I've just done, you need some fuel because I've got to walk back yet. Just can't get away from the seagulls, can you? Probably know I've just had my dinner. Anyway, all I do, it's not clean, into a carrier bag, pardon me, with all the rubbish. On a day trip like this, sort that lot out when I get home. Right, stove is cold, so that should be okay to put away now. Brilliant, these little bush boxes. It just collapse into themselves pretty much, if I've done it the right way. That's that one there. That one there. That's it. Something's got the seagulls riled. I will get it in the bag. That's because the trivets are in there. I didn't use the trivets today. Trivets are just little pieces of metal like that that sit on top. Oh, I needed that. I was starving, I was. Alright, that's the stove away. Now, the windbreaker just collapses on itself. Slides into the front of the pouch here. Keeps it all neat. Rubber band round the top just to keep the lid closed because there is a little bit of grease on there. Right, put everything else away. So that's my little fire starting box. That's got like hexamine blocks in it, violet magnesium. Also in there we've got a bag of jute which is waxed, and some strike anywhere stormproof matches. But today I just use a lighter for simplicity. That can all go away. And then the box that I carried the food in, still got one egg left. Couldn't fit it in the frying pan, but there we go. Take that back home with me. In this bag it's just first aid kit and some hankies. And in the first aid kit I've got some blister packs. I always carry blister packs. I've been caught out once, never again. So all that can go in there. Right, I'm pretty much packed up, I think. Cutlery, hot wash and put back in here when I get home. This is just my bushcraft. They could do with a wash actually. It's just what I use for bushcraft and camping and what have you. It's actually a canvas tool. I think it's for like tools. I'm sure that's what it was originally. That could probably do with a wash as well. Right, let's whack that back in there. That in there. That in there. No particular order. That's my oil. Keep my oil in a little. Get these from Poundland. I think 3 or 4 of them for £1. You get the bottles and the ones with a little pump on the top. Right, that's me packed up.